We are live on YouTube. I've got there, right. So I've got WeChat flying right now. My WeChat is here. I've got my YouTube. That's flying. All right, just giving that a plug on LinkedIn. That should be popping soon. My hair, I do need to sort this out. I think I need a haircut soon. There you go. It's a bit all over the place because I've been in meetings all day. Right, final thing. I must get this up on. I always give it a plug on Instagram because actually a lot of people do watch it. They find me through Instagram. And then I've got to set up my TikTok. But tonight I will be talking about, sort the hair out. I want to look more like James Bond. My name is Bond, James Bond. Speaking of which, I've really got into James Bond recently. I've been reading the books. I've been going back to the movies. I was a huge fan when I was a kid. I've gone back to them. All the old. What is and what are the biggest opportunities for doing business in China and Asia? I would say this applies more to Southeast Asia. So this is Singapore, Malaysia, Vietnam. Not so much Japan and Korea. I don't think there are great opportunities in those countries, if I'm being honest. That's not to knock those places. It's just I've never had anything come my way from those countries ever. Never. I've never had, a opportunity or anything really. So I've realized I should maybe organize my office a bit. It's a little bit. Let me have a bit of a tidy up. Give me 2 seconds. Hold on. I should probably. There we go. A bit of sun. I think we're there. This is. I'll tell you what this is. This is a body scan. I do this every 2 weeks because right now I'm hitting the gym, and people like to see the guitar. So I'm going to move my luggage. There we go. So you can see the guitar down there, which I'll be playing later. And then we can get cracking. I'm going to set up my TikTok as well. And thank you for the support. A little announcement is I've just hit 60,000 followers on WeChat. So WeChat video, 微信视频号. I've just hit 60,000. 我刚刚到6万的粉丝. And that's real. That's not bought. That's not fake. That is actual fans that I have built over. How long am I doing WeChat now? 4 or 5 years. Just wish it was the same for the other platforms. I wish I could. Instagram, I don't understand it. And TikTok, my TikTok is growing, not Douyin. My Douyin is kind of staying at it as it is at the moment. It's around 70,000 fans. But my TikTok has been growing in the West, which is good. So yeah, Lil Wan, I've got, and in total it's over. I can finally say I have 310,000. I've been saying 300,000 fans for a long time now. Now I can say it's finally 310,000, which is good. Good to know. To enter, I was like, yeah, no problem. I'm going to share. Just give me 2 seconds, guys. Hey. Why is that not working? It's quite odd. Sorry, guys, do bear with me. It's very odd when it doesn't share stuff. Technology. Ray, we're there. Okay. Hello, guys. Apologize about that. I'm just giving this a plug, and it does take time because right now I can't prepare it all at once and just have the live stream going. I've got to prepare it for multiple platforms. And that's my next venture, is to hopefully do this. I've just found out though you need 1,000 fans on Instagram, and I don't have 1,000 fans on Instagram. So if anyone's watching this who has Instagram, do follow me at Mr. MR Baidehan, Baidehan. Do go and follow me on Instagram. My TikTok is definitely growing. My YouTube is growing at the moment as well. I've never really put a lot of effort into YouTube, but in the last month or two, makes sense. As soon as you start doing, one seems to grow. It's like my Chinese channels, because I've always stayed consistent for the last 5 years of posting every week on my Chinese social media. It's always paid off. I've always built an audience there. And this is what I should be saying to companies. As a big opportunity, it is all about content. Content is king. But I will get into the big opportunities. Which is relevant for anyone, I'd say, whether you're doing business in China, not doing business in China. I'm also going to be covering Asia as well. So lots of topics tonight, but the big one is going to be about China, I'd say. China, and I'll give you guys a little hint for now. We're going to be mainly talking about the big opportunity is B2B. B2B is the biggest opportunity in all of these markets. B2C is very difficult, very challenging. You have to have something that's absolutely unbelievable. If I chose to study the question here, I think I'm live again on YouTube, but cool. So the big opportunity is B2B. The industries that, yes, I do exercise at home, by the way. So I'm getting comments flying into my WeChat as we're talking. So last year, all I did was bang on about B2B and LinkedIn. On LinkedIn and on my WeChat moments, not on my funny British character stuff. I think, they're still building many manufacturing facilities there in Vietnam. Yeah, very true, Lily. So last year, I noticed I was one of the few talking about B2B. I was banging the drum for B2B last year. And I think this year, the biggest markets I would say right now are, done it again on YouTube. YouTube is very up and down today. US, UK, Europe, Australia. Those countries have money for China and Southeast Asia. And a little bit like in Singapore and places like that. Chinese companies, it's the same. I think there's a lot of Chinese companies that are clinical trials, CROs, biotech. I'm seeing a lot of movement out of places like Suzhou and Shanghai. Those companies are looking to go west as well. When I say west, that could be Southeast Asia as well. Absolutely. Absolutely, Richard. So this is such a great point. The UK market is tough. It needs a good budget. The most important phrase there. Actually, Richard is spot on with this. You need a good budget. I have to drum this into companies all day long. I'm not going to tell you how much my services are. You should be telling me what your budget is and how much you're willing to invest when it comes to a country. You should know. It's not my job it's not like I have a car and I have a product and I'm selling it to you. I'm selling you a service. But what I do say when people ask me about my pricing, I get companies, probably 1 or 2 in 10 will have a budget of £5,000. And that's Chinese companies going to the UK or Western companies coming to China. You cannot crack anywhere in the world on £5,000, 50,000 RMB approximately. Again, my conversions are slightly off there. I always think like a pound is 10 RMB. I'm completely wrong on that. Actually, what is the actual rate? £1 to RMB now. Not far off. 9 kwai. 9 kwai is about 9 kwai san. Yeah. San Shimao. Okay, cool. So I only deal with companies that have got really decent budgets, but I have this idea of cracking a market on 5,000 is just not possible. It's not possible. You might be able to do that for 1 or 2 months, but you can't crack a market in 1 or 2 months. It takes years. And it takes working with really good partners. You can't do it by yourself. So the big opportunity is if you're a company in the West or a Chinese company looking to go overseas, is working with a local partner. I know plenty of local partners in all these markets. I know the go-to people. So you're not lost, right? But this kind of cautious nature that I get this quite often with Western companies coming to China is you can't be cautious with China. You're either in or you're out. You're either all in and you're doing WeChat and WeChat official accounts and WeCom and mini programs and exhibiting at events and going all in on China. That is the best way. Interesting. So, yeah, I was just reading some of the comments coming. There's loads of comments coming in on WeChat. Sorry, guys. So I think that's a bit of a sweeping statement to say that Vietnamese are lazier than Chinese labor force. I don't know if you can really say a group of people are lazy. I don't know if that's true, but I'm not sure about that. I've met some very hard-working Vietnamese. But so I'm just seeing some of the comments that are coming in. But you could argue, so there's some comments here about they kind of enjoy their lives after work. Yeah, why not? If they want to have a bit more of a balance, what's wrong with that? I'm always surprised, speaking of China and Chinese New Year, I'm always surprised how Chinese New Year, everyone just switches off. I actually worked last week. The only time I had off was I went to Macau last weekend, from Friday through to Monday. So 3-4 days. But I was still doing bits and pieces of work. I never switch off. I never have like a week off. Actually, that's not true. I did have a couple of weeks off last year. Talk to us about, I love that. Dancing Monkey Lao Wai. Talk to us about AI and international business. So I'm not going to touch AI so much because it's something that I use, but it isn't really a service that I sell. I don't sell AI services. What I sell more is marketing, PR, expos. That's really what I focus on. The only thing I will say about AI is these robots are getting, I'm talk more about robotics here. These robots are getting scarier and scarier. The kind of stuff I'm seeing now where people are pushing these robots over and then they just get up and they're ready to fight. You can see where things are going. You know, that robot, all of a sudden it's like, oh, I've just been pushed by my master. I'm not going to, almost like a teenager, once it finds out it's got strength. You know, it's like the moment when your dad realizes or your uncle realizes that you're a lot stronger than they are. But yeah, I really want to focus on this B2B aspect because I'm going off when there's no structure. It's you can see like the live stream goes off in different places. I really want to focus on the biggest opportunity right now, which is B2B companies under the umbrella of life sciences, healthcare, manufacturing. I've had a few B2C companies, but what I always find with a B2C company is they ask more questions. B2C companies are always worried about their margins and profits and how much they got to sell. And to do that, you need loads of money. You need loads of budget. You cannot sell. I actually think you need a bigger budget than B2B. With a B2C brand, you need to invest a lot more time and money into it. Whereas B2B is the lower hanging fruit. It's the easiest sell, particularly in China or if a Chinese company is going abroad. B2B all day long. I find, I'm going to stereotype a little bit, but I find B2B companies a lot easier to deal with. They're very upfront with, this is my budget, this is my pain, this is what I'm looking for. They're easier to deal with. Expectations, although they can be high, they're not like, oh, we're going to get X amount of sales every week. It's just, I'd rather not deal with B2C. It's very, very difficult. I've got partners that do B2C here in China and also in Southeast Asia. I personally would not want to do B2C myself. It is very, very tough. And because the budgets, the twisted reality with B2C is you actually need more money because you've got to do so much. And I don't think there is an opportunity with many companies for B2C to come here unless you've got a decent budget. If you've got £5,000, 50 to 100,000 RMB, good luck in any market. You're not going to crack the market. And a lot of them try and do stuff through distribution deals. It just doesn't work. Never met a company in China in 10 years that was successful with a distribution deal, B2C or B2B. And if they are, they were lying to me. I met a few last year at these events. A lot of these companies that say, oh, we know our clients and, oh, our distributors doing really well in China. I just doubt that. I really do. So B2B all day long. It's easier to do in China, I would say, actually, although it's they're complex industries. You know, when you think about life sciences or manufacturing or tech, they are quite complex industries and you have to be very technically minded, especially with the sales. But that isn't something that I do. I don't do the sales side. Really what I focus on is the marketing, the PR and the expos. So actually, when it's a B2B, it's pretty simple what you have to set up. Your first thing isn't the sales. The first thing isn't getting a distributor. It's testing the market with your marketing. You've got to see if people don't know about you. So you've got to do some sort of marketing to tell your audience who you are. Why I'm doing this live stream. Now I get a lot of people, this is why I'm doing this, because after this, I will get multiple inquiries coming in asking about China and Southeast Asia. And I want to show people I know what I'm talking about. B2B, if you're an international company entering China, is the easiest industry umbrella to do business. Easy vertical, because all you have to do is pretty much set up a WeChat ecosystem. If you've got a really robust budget, you can look into websites, Baidu, webinars. You don't need Xiaohongshu. You don't need Rednote. You don't need Douyin. They're B2C platforms. So you're only really focused on WeChat ecosystem. So that's WeChat official account, having a business account, producing content, having a menu bar, connecting with the sales. Then you may explore WeCom, which is a CRM, which can now plug into other CRMs in the West, like HubSpot and Salesforce. It is possible. And it's all secure, data's all secured. Yeah, I saw this today. I'll go into this, Lily, I did see that China's become Germany's biggest trading partner. I thought that was quite interesting. I did see that in the news today. And webinars, a big thing that doesn't get discussed in China is actually webinars work. So if you do a webinar through WeChat, it's quite easy to position yourself and fill that audience in a webinar with your decision makers. It's not like on where you get a random bunch of people. And sometimes I see on LinkedIn, people do webinars and things, and they'll get 5-10 people in a live stream, like a webinar on LinkedIn. But on WeChat, I've seen webinars that get hundreds of people, and not hundreds of just random people, students. These are actual decision makers in China. So really interesting. And then the big one, which I bang on about all the time, is exhibiting at expos. You need to be looking at what's coming up. I've done that with my team. I have a list of all the expos coming up from now, pretty right up until November, which is going to be kind of what CIIE time, which I don't recommend. I do not recommend CIIE at all. I've never met anyone that's got any business from it. It's a good way to kind of show off. But it is not, there are more industry specific events and expos coming up in China this year where I saw business happening last year. That's really where a lot of decision makers hang out and where they're housed, and deals can be brokered at those kind of events. So really interesting. Any questions, guys? I see there's loads of comments. Germany is definitely a market for me. German companies coming to China or looking at Southeast Asia. I've got quite a few German clients, actually. It's a great... Germans I always find are pretty easy to deal with. And actually, little interesting thing about me is I have more German friends in China than I do British friends. Isn't that a thing? Most of my clients are British, but actually most of my friends in China are German, Chinese, Australian, from other countries. I'd love to have more British friends here in China. The one thing I will say about British people is in China, when we see each other, we're not like, "Way, you're British!" Like, we don't have that in our culture. I wish we did, because I'm like that. If I meet another Brit, I'm like, "Where are you from? What do you do?" I'm very enthusiastic. And then, ugh. But I have had a lot of British companies approaching me recently, more and more. So thank you, Keir Starmer. It's the only good thing I've seen him do is when he did that trip a month ago, all of a sudden I got a few British companies. It's a shame you can't do that every week, really. So the big opportunity, the other thing I will say about B2C is I have had the odd company recently. I've had some student accommodation. I've had some cosmetics, clothing companies approaching me recently looking at China. It's never too late, but the sooner the better. It's always better to get things going in any market. In life, just get things going. You know, I recently sorted out some financial stuff, and it's like this stuff I should have done many years ago, and I just sorted it out literally in one evening. And it's like, why have I not been doing this for years? Like, so German enterprises invest a lot in Suzhou. Yeah, so when you go to, I always said that the German city in China is a place called Taitang. If you go there, it's full of German companies, and they're all really cool. They're cool companies. I'm not stereotyping when I say this. I think Germans are a lot more long-term thinking when it comes to China. They're more ambitious than British companies, from my experience. British companies can be a little bit too cautious, almost like stuck in time. So Chris, I've answered this question many, many times. Everyone always asks me this question: what kind of business are you in exactly? I've talked about this many, many times, but my main role is I'm a China hand, so a China bridge. I essentially bridge international companies coming to China, or they're already in China, and I do their marketing, PR, expos, reputation management. It's something else I do. And then Chinese companies as well, looking to go overseas, support them. A new business that I've been exploring recently is international companies going to Southeast Asia. So that's Singapore, Malaysia, Vietnam. So helping them localize there, do all their digital activities. But yeah, mainly digital stuff. I don't really do distribution and things like that. Distribution partners, I have them, but I personally don't do that. But yeah, I work with Chinese teams and execute on all this stuff. Not sure what that means. Is the anchor in China now? I'm not sure what that means. Oh, am I in China? I get that question a lot. Where are you? Go and check out my content. That's my best advice. If you want to work out where I am. I'm going to live stream for like another 5-10 minutes, guys. I've got to crack on with some more work. But yeah, I get that question a lot. Where are you? Where are you? Come find me. Also, I think it's a little bit quiet tonight. I think it's because I live streamed a bit early. If I did at 6 p.m., there'd be a lot more people in here because it's 10 to 6 right now. But I've got lots of work to do, so I thought I'd. But I'm staying consistent. I'm trying to. I don't think I can live stream every day, but maybe a few times a week. It's good to get my ideas out and to see what's happening. I would say a big market that is not an opportunity is property companies. International property companies targeting China, unless it's student accommodation. Property companies generally do not have money for China, and I'm the biggest culprits are the ones in the Middle East. So the ones from Dubai and all those kind of places, they look rich because people are investing in them. I don't see a lot of investment coming from those places into China. The biggest investment I'm seeing is US, Canada, UK, Europe, Singapore and Australia. These places, most countries in Europe are really looking at China still, which is great. But pretty much anywhere else in the world. I would love to work with companies from South America, but I've never had one approach me with a decent budget. So I only really work with companies that are really serious with China and Southeast Asia, and they've got budget, KPIs, pain. And are serious and looking to move quickly. I've just done a post today. I posted it on my LinkedIn, didn't put it on my WeChat or my Xiaohongshu or my Douyin. On you've got to move with China. You've got to move quickly. You can't be looking at China for Q3, Q4 of 2026. You've got to be thinking about it now. Like, you've got to deploy budget now. Now, April's coming up. I know the budget's April is the budget month. So I know that this is the time to get moving with China or Southeast Asia. I think this year it's already a lot more optimistic and promising. I can already tell compared to last year. Last year it was challenging at times to get people to respond to stuff. But now there's almost like a renewed optimism in the air of 2026 and doing business here, which is great to see. I'm really happy. You just need to be working with the right partners. Could be me, or if I want to work with someone, I want to work with someone that clearly knows what they're talking about, and they post a lot because it shows that they're not afraid to show their face. That's all I'm going to say. And who can back up what they say. I love this quote from Alex Hormozi, which is, I want to get it right. Before you say a quote, you should always probably know it in your head. You don't become confident by shouting affirmations in the mirror, but by having a stack of undeniable proof that you are who you say you are. Outwork your self-doubt. I love that quote. I'll say that one more time. You don't become confident by shouting affirmations in the mirror, but by having a stack of undeniable proof that you are who you say you are. Outwork your self-doubt. I love that quote. And this is kind of what I practice and preach with a lot of the stuff that I do. I back up with case studies and not being afraid to get in front of the camera. And if you can't really hide in an office anymore, I think you need to scream and shout and tell people what you're doing nowadays. I still get family and friends that don't know what I do, even though I bang on all day long and scream about I do B2B marketing, PR expos for international companies in China and Chinese companies and international companies looking at Southeast Asia. I talk about it all the time, but I still get people saying, so what do you do? Even though I scream about it. But yeah, you just never know who's going to see your content. But the big opportunity, yeah, is to market yourself in these markets this year. Guys, I'm going to cut it soon. We'll give it a couple more minutes. But if anyone's got any final questions about doing business in China or Southeast Asia, yeah, bridge role. That's essentially what I am. I bridge. I've got a network. I know a guy who knows a woman, who knows a guy who knows a woman. I know all these kind of people. My network is pretty good, pretty extensive. If someone comes to me with pain or a question, or they're looking for a thing or a person when it comes to doing business in China or doing business in Southeast Asia, I've got a contact who can help them. But your first port of call is always your marketing. So the biggest opportunity this year for B2B, I would say, is B2B. B2C is very difficult. University is very difficult. They are industries that I cover. I cover a bit of education. I do a bit of private schools and stuff. But honestly, the budgets are a bit thin. They are £5,000 to £10,000 with those kind of places. I want the £50,000, so 500,000 RMB kind of deals are the ones that I'm with. So guys, I've had a lot of people follow me today. Wow. That's why I like doing the live streams on WeChat. Every time I do a live stream on WeChat, I'll get like another 200-300 people following me. Just wish it was the same for YouTube. It'd be great if people on YouTube and TikTok could watch the live stream and then Guangzhou could follow me. Yeah, I'm live streaming, by the way, guys, on YouTube. My YouTube is exactly the same as Baidehan, Baidehan. So feel free to find me. My TikTok is exactly the same as well, Baidehan. And then my Douyin, my Xiaohongshu, also Baidehan. So you can go Guangzhou, or you can follow me there. All right, guys, I think I'm going to cut it there. I think I've gone over the main opportunities. There's huge opportunities with China and Southeast Asia still. Don't be looking at investing in the US unless you're a Chinese company. Don't be looking at Korea or Japan. I would say not as bigger opportunities as China and Southeast Asia. But get in touch if you've got an opportunity. If you're looking at growing your business and you've got budget, don't approach me if you want freebies. I had a guy who I don't know just approach me yesterday and say, hey, I'm looking at setting up my social media. Can you give me some advice? And I gave him some advice and then never heard from him again. Didn't even thank me. So I only give freebies to people that I really trust. And if you're good at something, never do it for free. Remember that. So do get in touch if you've got any questions. And I hope all of you guys have a wonderful evening ahead. Make it productive. Make sure you're watching my videos and don't just swipe. You can actually view them. 我也有自己的，我现在我会说中文。我有自己的粉丝微信群，如果你感兴趣，加入我的微信群，你可以私信我，然后会发给你二维码。在我们的群里，我们讨论文化，我们做朋友，支持我的视频，点赞、转发、评论。So if you'd like to join my WeChat group, you're welcome to. You just need to message me. Okay, guys, I'm going to cut that there. Thank you so much for the support. 谢谢你们的关注. So biggest takeaway is B2B, China, Southeast Asia, WeChat. You remember those and then message me. We can talk. Have a lovely evening. Take care. 过年好，新年好. Happy Chinese New Year. Happy Year of the Horse. And I hope it builds momentum. 2026 is going to be a big year. I hope you are successful and make loads of money. Okay, guys, have a good one. Take care. Bye-bye. 再见. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.